Hi, friends. In the book of Hebrews, it's like flipping through a Bible storybook. It has lots of stories in there about all of the powerful individuals of the Bible, like Moses. And after Moses, it talks about the Hebrews as a group. So there's two stories where the people actually trusted and obeyed God. In Hebrews 11, chapter 11, verse 29, it says, "By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea as if it were dry land, but when the Egyptians attempted to do so, they drowned. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after they had been encircled for 7 days." So, in the crossing of the Red Sea, at first the Hebrews were enslaved for what we can guess can be about 90 years, and they cried out to God and they cried out to Him. And why did it take so long for God to do something? No one knows. God's ways are not our ways, and He operates on a totally different timetable. But when God did finally act, the whole world took notice, and we're still talking about it today. So when the Hebrews were traveling, the Pharaoh decided he wanted them back. He changed his mind. So he went after them, and they were stuck between the Pharaoh and the Red Sea, and the people turned on Moses. And Moses's reply was, "Do not be afraid, stand firm, and see the deliverance that the Lord will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians who you see today, you shall never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you only have to keep still." By faith, the people crossed the Red Sea. Now, at the fall of Jericho, you would think that right after the Red Sea, the Hebrews would have unshakable faith in God, and they do for about 3 days. Their water runs out, their food runs out, and they begin to grumble and complain all the way to Canaan. So once they get there, they find out that the city is awesome, but they can't overthrow it. They're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. But Joshua and Caleb see it differently. They think they can, and by faith, they believe they can do it. But faith often looks foolish, and they didn't take Jericho that day. So 40 years later, they get a timeout for 40 years, and 40 years later, God gives them the weirdest battle plan in history. You can read about it. They had to circle the city for days and days and days, and scream and yell and crumble the city walls. Would you want to be a part of that army? I would, because I know how the story ends. If you know how the story ends, you can have all kinds of faith, and it ends well for them. So we're in the worst pandemic of our lifetime. Every day is an adventure into the unknown, and it's stressful, and it's scary, and it's maddening. If this pandemic were a Bible story, we would know how it ends, and we could live it by faith. We want to tell those people in the Bible that we want to tell them not to give up, because we know that they're going to go free, and it's going to work out how we know it will work out. And at Jericho, we want to tell them not to rebel and to do what God says. So in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, it says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." When all of this ends with this pandemic, and it will end, when we look back on how we're responding right now, what will we see? Will ours be a story of faithful perseverance, or will it be a story of faithless panic? It's my understanding that this pandemic is going to go on for a long time, but by faith, we believe it will end. And when it ends, what kind of people will we be? The decisions we make now will determine the kind of people we will be after this. So our priorities: be faithful, stay connected, serve others. So being faithful is keep feeding your faith, make weekly worship and with your church family a priority, join a Bible class, but stay faithful. So my prayer is that when we are on the other side of this pandemic, our church will be stronger than ever before. Our faith will be bolder than ever before. Our love will be deeper. Our hope will be richer. Amen, and may it be so.